日本ファルコムコーポレーション
play Ace together. You and me. Like we used to. You and me. Like family. Greetings, watchers. Oh goodness. Never trust a man who quotes Vin Diesel. We have more Ace tonight. Straight into this. Now I have some news. I finally met my first ever streaming streamer goal. I got 10 followers, which isn't a lot. I can understand that, but that's incredible. I met the goal. It's not quite enough to level up. It does mean I'm making progress. One step at a time. Even if it's just, you know, 8 steps of progress. But thank you to the Hazel Rose to be my 10th follower. Appreciate it. Good news. I have my new microphone. Save them out for the gold from all my daily grinding in that dungeon. And my efforts are going to pay off with this new microphone. I don't know if I'm going to assume the quality is going to sound more or less the same as what I have now, but I'm interested in its software. It's going to have built into it, or come with it rather. I don't know if it's built into the microphone. I probably have to download it off their website. Should be nice. This microphone is level 2 for what I use it for, primarily. Sometimes it fucks up picking up my voice if I straighten my head a little too far to the side, so this one should have a little more better directional qualities when it comes to picking up my voice. And as well with the software that it comes with, I'll be able to better fine-tune the voice. Always make it sound, hopefully make it sound a little bit more crisp. And with better ease using the software. I'm excited for that. We're here with East Origins. This area was giving me quite the trouble last time I played. So my assumption was that I was underleveled. The more perceptive among you probably noticed that I am level, I don't know if you can see my level on here, but my HP is a lot higher than what it used to be. I'm level 29 now. I think I was at 24, 25, around there. Either way, it wasn't enough to deal with some of the mobs in this area. The Silent Sands, which I understand is only considered a difficulty spike in this game. Now, what you didn't see was that I spent about half an hour grinding levels. I literally just ran north of that last save point for like an hour, half hour, 45 minutes, over and over, just killing the same shit over and over again. Very boring. And my yapping stat isn't very high. It's not as high as I'd like it to be. So I wasn't gonna stream me just killing the same shit over and over for half an hour. Now, I feel confidence in being able to deal with these things. As you can see, my Phantom spell, or Phoenix spell, sorry, is doing a lot more damage. Especially to these little bugs. The little bugs did a shit ton of damage to me. Like, I was getting 3-shot by these things. Now, I'm one-shotting them. Yeah, they don't do nearly as much damage as they did. But it was to be expected. This is a JRPG after all. It's going to be stats. I want to say soft cats. Maybe, oh man, this room is hectic. Maybe soft cap is the word I'm looking for. Your stats are probably gonna have to meet a certain level. To deal with enemies, especially like these. So, a little bit of grinding paid off significantly. I'm a lot more confident in killing things as well. Man. Yeah, I'm taking a lot of hits, and I was last time as well. That alone, those 2 bombs probably would have almost killed me. Ow. Oh shoot, I forgot as well. As part of my efforts for grinding, I made a significant amount of SP as well. Which I meant to spend, but... no, fuck it. I'll do it later. Maybe I can find a crystal soon. I'll be able to spend this SP I got from my... whatever grinding. Oh, okay, maybe I should relax. Before, I was just running away from all this because they hurt a lot. They don't hurt nearly as much now. I'm just sloppy. I gotta slap. There it is. Okay. These bugs are still pretty hard to see. Lovely. I also have my cloak. Regens my HP. Where is it? It was somewhere. I just don't remember where. There it is. Let's take a moment here. Take a breather. Yep. Good hydrate. Okay. A little more HP. Cool. These chimes equip because they kill the skeletons. Now, if I remember right, there's a chest over here. Gives me max HP. Maybe not. Actually, don't remember where that chest... There it is. It's down there. Okay. Ah, another platform. Jeez. Okay. There it is. The Satan Peninsula. I think I've seen that. Saying that right? Satan? Satan? Valkyra? Let's see this sounds right. There we are. You know, I need to drink that, as I had forgotten that those give me X HP boosts. Not a lot, but over time, drinking more and more of these will make difference. Bigger difference. Sorry. Lose myself in how I'm speaking. Make a much bigger difference. English is altering. There we are. 60,000 SP. That's not bad. Not bad at all. I'm gonna get some of those bigger grids. Oh, hell. What the hell? Oh, there he is. Come here. Oh, and a level. Nice. 235 HP now. Oh boy, okay. Should probably switch to the hammer, but I like the great sword. Always. It's a great sword. Hammer is strong though. Hammer is very strong. Ah, okay. This could get a little hairy. Oh, he's got hands. He's literally throwing hands at me. Okay. Good. Okay. Let's clear out this bottom area first. Oh boy. There you are. I was wondering what these things were. Yeah, but the chimes, I can kill them permanently. They respawn. I guess it doesn't matter much. Die all the same. Okay, so nothing over here. Oh, what's that? Right, let's go up these stairs. Oh, these are asymmetric. Or symmetrical, rather. Doesn't seem like it's. That goes outside. Where does this go? E-door, okay. Is that... Okay, on one of the lower levels, the eye meant that we could use this mask. No, okay, I guess not. I guess it's not an eye. I thought it was. Really did. No, it's just a recurring motif on the textures, okay. Let's see where this goes. Inside. Huh. It's Hugo. Unica. Yusha. Kadena. You must be... Oh, that's right. You two haven't been introduced yet. Here he is. Hugo Fact. I've just rejoined the search party recently, though I have not yet had the pleasure. Seems quite a lot's happened in my absence. At any rate, it's good to meet you. Nice to meet you too. I'm Unica Tova. Ah, so you're the girl from House Tova then. So what are you three doing here? I'll take a look. Oh, that's the, yeah, Rano's Annex. As in the second game. Tiny tower connected by a suspended bridge. So that's Rado's annex, huh? Oh well. Do you know what it's called? Hugo only just found that out himself. Oh, Utica details a run-in with Lady Rhea. Interesting. Why would Lady Rhea want to go to the top of the tower? I think the answer to that will have to wait. We've got Lady Fina within arm's reach here. We need to focus on securing her safety. Oh, yeah, you're right, of course. Sorry. Utica, was it? You seem to understand the situation, more or less, so I'll be brief. Freeing the goddess is of paramount importance, but it's not going to be as easy as just walking in there and picking a lock. I don't know what it is, but there's a powerful energy emanating from that small tower. And well, let's just say it's not wholesome. That demon shit. Not wholesome. Or it's evil. Something in there is stronger than anything I've ever encountered before. It's going to get in our way. Since we don't know exactly what's waiting for us in there, it would be unwise to rush in. Is there any way for us to find out what it is? Not without putting someone in harm's way. Kind of at a loss. It's fine. I'll go check it out. What? You gotta be kidding. Didn't you hear a word we just said? The atmosphere coming off of there is indescribable to one who can't use magic. But unsafe would be an understatement. Okay. Well, what else can we do? We just go see for ourselves what's in there, or we just stand around out here forever? Yeah, there we go. I'll just run in, take a quick peek, and come back to let you guys know how it looks in there. I don't like it, but I really can't argue. Promise me, though. If anything happens in there, you get the hell out pronto. Understood. In the meantime, I'll get in contact with Commander Galleon and the other knights, and ask them to join us. No matter what's in there, I think it's a safe bet that having a few extra pairs of hands couldn't hurt. Sounds good to me. Alright then, be careful, Unica. Nice. You have to say this place is dangerous. That's to be really, really dangerous. Please be careful in there, Unica. Okay, so let's just... Aura of malice resonating from this annex is far more than a simple magic artifact can produce. Can't stress enough just how uninviting it is. You do well to caution every step you take. Gotcha. Blessings. Blessings, blessings. So I have 61,000. What do I want? Speaking would be good. I'm only halfway with towers, so getting this now might pay off. Say how much it enhances. Of course it does. Why would it? No, it's item drop. Happiness for those little potions that pop up, maybe. Bad status, effective herbs. Status resist. Oh, okay, it would be potions. It's nice and cheap. Increased boost recovery. Need to make use of my boost more. Because for whatever reason, I never use it. Movement speed. Oh, 500,000. Probably never gonna get that. Alright. Let's get this boost. Speeding. Okay. Use the effective herbs. Skill recovery would be nice. So would magic usage. That means I can cast more spells without running out. Boost recovery. Let's get this one. Okay, so I can cast spells more often. Is good. Yeah, 15,000 left. So, well, that comes in levels. Okay, so I'm not gonna get that anytime soon. I do have the SP game. Potions. And status resist. I'm just gonna get the cheap ones now. Unresist. Interesting. Oops. Make some herbs. Okay. 10k left. Maybe the boost recovery. I do need to use that more often. Boost more often. Prayers have been answered. Okay, no more. Let's go see. Battles Annex. Now in Ace 2, I think it was Rhea was stuck in this tower. Oh, this looks like a boss fight. Oh, the entrance. Seems a poor lost mouse has wandered its way into my little maze. How unfortunate for you. Zava? Yeah, Zava. Of course. You're the woman who took Lady Fina. Is she alright? My, such selfless concern for the goddess. You yourself were in a far worse predicament. But you must know she is safe, and quite secure. You've been given all the amenities that a hostess such as I can provide, including an impenetrable magic barrier that seals away all our powers. Now that I get a good look at you, you really are a pitiful little thing. Pitiful? You're a descendant of one of your fabled priests, no? And yet you have no innate magical ability whatsoever. Sad excuse for an opponent you are. I'm not certain if I should laugh or cry. You must feel the same. At one time or another, I'm sure you've cursed your lot in life. Well, don't try to deny it. You've no doubt been through many hard times on Ilias on account of your deficiencies. You'll most assuredly continue to face such challenges, quite possibly for the rest of your natural life. Yeah, maybe I will. I took an oath to serve and protect their goddesses, to serve and protect these, because that's what I believe in. And nothing will ever change that. I will always be loyal to my goddesses and my country. Magic or no magic. So call me pitiful all you want, but I know in my heart that what I'm doing is right. It's quite the rousing speech. I suppose if you're beyond temptation, there's simply no reason to continue wasting my breath here. But since you did come all this way, please allow me to show you some hospitality. It's been rather boring guarding this lonely annex. I could use a good show. What is this? Ew. It's covered in brains. Brains and chains. Let's find out just how loudly you can scream. What the fuck is this thing? Oh, Janagris. Okay. Whatever it is, dick. This guy was the first boss in Ace 1. He was a lot smaller there, though. Oh, man. Okay. Alright. Okay. He's not hitting me, which is good. What the fuck is that? It's not too bad. He could be a much worse bullet hell. A little patience. Hurt these? Nah, I can't. Okay. It's safe with me. Great sword. Does the brain act like additional RAM? Yeah, he downloaded a lot. Straight through his head. Might be better off using this hammer. Be careful. Careful. I've only been hit once. I'm surprised. Only the big Phoenix can reach it in there. I don't really want to run into that crap either. A lot of those hit me. Oh, my HP's down. Damn, okay. A little time if I jump. Where is that? Purple juice. Okay. Oh, goodness, okay. Fuck. Well, these actually looks pretty fun, and that music is killer. It is. You also get the option to have the old East music on in East 1 and 2 Chronicles. There's an older edition called Complete, and you can switch that game's audio, but you can also switch to the original PC-88's soundtrack. I myself have a soft spot for the modern music, though. Because JDK team, it's very good. Their in-house band. Oh shit, okay. It's actually fairly tanky. Even with my hammer, I'm missing the upgrades. I have all the clear ore, I think. It seemed like there was one per area. Keep jumping. Go, okay. Might have to keep doing the Phoenix for my own safety. Did you go there? Now we're going to the bullet hell. Alright. What the fuck is this? Come on. Okay, alright. And they're doing the fire. Oh, okay. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh my, that's okay. Jeez, when I get close to this, it's teleport. I think it's supposed to use the Phoenix the entire time. Better. And steady. And a few more hits and I'm just dead. I'm just going to try and outlive him. I just stay out of that inner circle. Okay, alright. Ballsy, I can try and... I got hit. Sucks. Okay. Okay. He's shooting us faster. If he is, I'm not gonna have any. Oh god! I'm not gonna have any chance to hit him. I just gotta keep running. He's back to his normal. Okay. 7, 8, 9. Just okay. probably a much better way to do this. But, oh no, no, I'm dead! Just play it safe. Deplete his HP. Deadly over time. Oh god. Oh, I got hit. That lightning sucks. Okay. So he casts that faster, the more HP is missing. See, one of those iframes on jump. I feel like I'm jumping into these balls sometimes and I'm still like maybe just let me initiate. Elevation of the jump. Oh wow. Doing alright. Sometimes he does shoot 2 lightning bolts in a row though. Kind of fucks me up a bit. Oh, I should not be in the middle. Okay. Oh, that tornado hit me. That sucks. It's okay. I'm still good. Oh, damn. What the fuck? He shot 2 of those in a row. Oh, God. Easy does it. Maybe when it gets hit, I retaliate. Okay, I'm getting there. If I cast right at the edge of the circles, you can get one off before you teleport. Yeah, I'm doing well so far. 1 tornado, 1 electric bolts hit me. Oh no, okay. The bullet hell is actually the easier. Mechanic dodge. Okay. It's good. The window is tight, but I can hit him between his casts. All it has. teleport instantly. I must have triggered a mechanic. Yeah, I don't think I can cast between that. I might have to just wait. From the up here, cast, and then just run. Tornadoes don't help. Fire, okay. Oh, that hurt. Oh, jeez. Okay. We're good. Really need down. More of attrition. This is my cast. Shit. Okay. That's fine. Oh man. Alright. Holy shit, okay. And that sights. Pull him down, pull him down. A few more teleports instead. Maybe two more hits. Almost killed me. Okay, we're okay though. We're okay. One more. Oh, the teleport! I was gonna go slap him. You can. No slap. Let's just play it safe. All that brain's still predictable. I'm doing 55 calculations at once, and they're all wrong. I did it! No, this can't be. How could you have defeated my beautiful familiar? Because he sucks. Weak. That's one of the benefits of having no magical ability. I got lots of practice with my trusty battle axe and my dad's sword. I may be a mouse compared to you when it comes to enchantments, but I'm the buffest, meanest mouse you'll ever see. That's not intimidating at all, Unica. Impudent little bitch. Oh, damn, Zava. You think physical strength alone affords you merit? If you're gonna be put in your place, I guess I'll have to fight you myself. Uh-oh. Ominous voice. That's enough, Zava. What? Who's there? Lord Dallas. Meet Lord Dallas. You are to withdraw from this location. They can have Rado's Annex. Yes, my lord, but do not question my orders. There are preparations to be made. You mean, yes, then I need your assistance. Come to the tower's summit immediately. Understood, my lord. I'll be there post-haste. Wait. Utica Tova, was it? Next time we finish this, make sure you're ready for me. Why would they withdraw? That doesn't make any sense. What's going on here? Because... that's it. Just because. Now, if I remember correctly... this doesn't look good at all. Yeah, the demon door. Devil's Gaze. Even I can tell there's some powerful magic coming off of this door. Gives me the creeps. This is where Lady Feena's being held. Hold it. The other group. Ages. Thank goodness. The seal on the entrance finally broke. We didn't know what we were going to find in here. Dina, I'm sorry if I worried you. It's okay, I'm just glad you're safe. As soon as that barrier popped up behind you, I'll admit I assumed the worst. But I should have known better. You are Commander Tova's daughter, after all. I did kind of use a Leela shell to tell Galleon what happened, though. I definitely would have preferred you didn't do that. I was watching it from outside when you turned the tables on that Zava person. You were amazing, Unica. Personally, I was more surprised than anything. You owe a lot to good fortune, I believe. Well, I'd better shell another report before anyone starts to panic. I'm sure they'll all welcome the good news. In the meantime, I think you two should get to work on this door. What's wrong with the door? Well, suffice it to say, it's not the sort of door that just opens. You feel it too, Hugo, right? I do. It's undoubtedly the source of the malicious energy we sensed outside. The enchantment placed upon it is so powerful that simply being in its presence is making my hair stand on end. Seriously? Oh, Hugo has like a swagger when he walks. Ooh. Hugo. Just as I thought, an extremely potent curse has been placed upon this door. You recognize it, Kadena. Well, let's see. Oh. Yeah, that's powerful, alright. Frankly, I don't know how you can still be standing after touching it, Hugo. Getting it won't be an easy task in the slightest. Truth be told, I'm not sure we'll be able to open it at all. What? What do you mean? Well, to put it simply, you've got to be a demon if you want to get in there. Or at least have some demonic energy in you. It absolutely, positively will not open for anyone who doesn't exhibit some degree of demonism. So you've got to be one of the bad guys, and Lady Fina's in there. Is there anything we can do, Kadena? Well, if we had some of the holy water from Solomon's shrine, maybe. Or, maybe I'm going about this all wrong, what if instead of breaking the curse, we tricked it into thinking we're demons? Theoretically, if we got our hands on one of the enemy's magic artifacts, we might just stand a chance. What kind of artifact? Something with an equivalent curse on it. If one of us touches the door while wearing a cursed artifact, it might just be enough to get that damn thing open. That's preposterous. A curse that strong would kill whoever wore it within moments. Yeah, I know. It's not a perfect solution by any means, but it's an idea at least. Gotta be some way to make it work. Well, I'm sure playing East 2 has given me some insight on this door, because you had to open a store in East 2 with the same concepts they're talking about. Don't remember if this necklace was needed, but what you did in East 2 was you had the demon ring and the necklace at the same time. Now, the issue is, I don't think I came across a demon ring. No, it doesn't look like it. So, let's use the shell. Is it called? You could describe the cursed door, standing between her and Lady Fina. Oh, that sounds really disturbing. I guess the first thing would be to find a cursed enemy. Thank you, Aelia. So let's return to... Just curious if it'll work. Is there anything up there I can see? No, okay. I don't remember where the demon ring was in the these two. Janakres. Where is Janakres? Summon demon of remarkable ugliness. Nervados Annex. Sounds of body projections thrown its enemies, attacks mercilessly to the kingfish. Okay. Just curious. Let's head back. Aeolia just might be right. And someone back at the home base knowing what to do. Let's save that. I'm going to teleport. Okay, Rado's Annex also marks the halfway point. Wait. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Maybe not the halfway point, but close enough. It's not exact. Okay, is there anyone here? Any idea where I can get a demon artifact? They're all just saying we need the artifact, but no one's actually telling me where I can actually get an artifact. It's not only powerful enough to neutralize the effects of demonic energy on whoever wears it. In other words, it doesn't lift curses, it just blocks their effects. You had my grandfather's blue amulet. Love it. Don't I? Dude, I thought I had this blue amulet. Yeah, I have it. Okay. So, I'm gonna teleport back to that tower. That was Annex. I'm going to attempt to touch the door with this this necklace equipped. Now, I don't remember seeing any other directions, but there was a place with a key. The door with a key. I didn't get a key off the boss, so... Now my assumption is this isn't going to work, but I'm going to try it anyway. No, okay. And all the way down. And across the bridge. Cool view. Okay. I'm looking for another new direction to go. Should have my chimes equipped in here. Need a key. Okay. Is there another direction to go? Not in this room. Doesn't look like so. Let's backtrack. Excuse me, goblins. I don't think there was anything over there. I'm gonna check though, just in case. I remember there being a door. I remember the chest, but not the door. Oh, let's check. No, it's just a button. Okay. Right, if I remember, it's just a button. Up above and to the right is a button. There's another button that I already pressed that activated the elevator. More buttons. What I meant to do is run through all these rooms with my mask. Mask of eyes. Which sucks, but let's do that. Notice that if you double jump into a wall, you actually get like a little speed boost. Almost. Strange. Have I been this way? Must have. What's down here? Chest? Okay, so I grip my eyes. And I'm going to see if there's any secrets. Oh. I'm willing to help me speedrun a little bit. And yet, no secrets in here. Nothing at all. Okay. Click right side. Careful, careful. There we go. Fuck. God damn it. No. Bit. Okay. I don't think there was anything over there, but I suppose I should look. Fuck, man. Okay. It'd be the worst place to put something. Just the chest. Okay. Okay, at least I don't have to go that way anymore. Oh, damn it. Okay. I think that other thing fell, so that's good. Sides there, just making sure. This is going to suck, but okay. I must be missing something. All along the outside. No secret pathways, no way up. Those are all invisible walls. No cracks in the wall either. You can break the cracks with a hammer. Barely has anything to do. He found a strange seal due west from the goddess statue in a sandy area. According to him, it looks like it's comprised of an eye and a moon. Get a chance before we can lift. Oh, okay. So let's use this. That sounds sands. Perfect. Give me a hint. Let's save though. Due west, huh? Okay. How far west? Shit. Damn it. And a moon. And a moon. I believe I got all the chests in here. Something else came up. Easy, buddy. These things used to beat my ass too before I grinded some levels. Let's keep going this way. Now my assumption is there's no hidden doors in here, but let's be thorough. So I'm just gonna go across, scan everything. That's where the invisible. Oh, that's what that is. It's a fucking. Okay, I see. I'm just an idiot. I'm blind. Oh damn! I stunned him. I didn't know you could do that. Now we put on the mask. Ah. An invisible bridge. And chest. The evil ring, there it is, the demon ring. That's not good. Oh, interesting. You have to see the bridge in order to cross it. No mask, you just fall right through. Let's keep moving. Just over. If there's any more dialogue. Ironica. Describe the evil ring to Aeolia. First room with no power. Well, it's got no power. Its power seems to have been drained. Interesting. Okay. Then we will go consult with the wizards. And... sorry, Kadena. And you. So I need to put demonic power back into the ring. Am I going to do that? I didn't have to do that in the other games. In these two. It just came first. What's that ring you got me? See it? Utica showed the evil ring to Kadena. It's definitely demonic in nature, but it's been drained of all its power. If you look closely at it though, its design does seem to match the one in the store. Maybe it's connected in some way. I swear I've seen this face somewhere before. You have? Actually, come to think of it, it looks kind of familiar to me too. So it's something we both encountered then. The undead sand creatures do bear a resemblance, I suppose. Oh, I guess they do. What's wrong? There are several varieties of sand creatures, and this looks exactly like the larger ones we saw on our way here. Weren't as many of them as the smaller type, but the resemblance is undeniable. They're quite fierce. I don't remember anything quite like that. Maybe some new demon spawns as I left the main tower. Okay. Okay. So... I'm assuming I have to have this equipped. Does it work now? Okay. So Hugo seems to think I should investigate the sand demons. I'm just gonna teleport back to... Crystal's power is sealed here, that's right, there's no magic in here. Okay. I guess I'm not walking back to the crystal. I gotta fucking... Or sorry, I'm not teleporting back. I gotta use my 2 fates. Monsters, huh? Let's see about them. They're glowing red, which means targets. Interesting. And I didn't even have to wear my chimes. They just died instantly. Actually, I'm gonna use my... Boop. Actually, they do quite a... They're actually really tanky. Yeah, not against my fire, it seems. Okay. Evil Ring's power has been restored. Excellent. It's restored. I can open up that door. Oh. It's red now, too. It's a powerful energy with the ability to destroy anyone who would wear it. So, you have to wear this thing. And then put on the ring. I'm gonna hold on to that though. Blessings, my blessings. Don't really have enough to buy anything. I could buy this, I suppose. Might come in handy. Okay. Gonna save again. This tower. I just realized Unica gets a little blue thing. She's got the amulet on. That's cool. Okay, this is probably gonna be really important, so I'm going to take a second here to refill my water. And I will be right back. Every time fighting stream, you said you... What's up, Shaq Mimic? You do it more on weekends. Yeah, my weekends can be kind of hectic, so I might have to retract that statement. You can quote me as being misquoted. Enjoying the game? I am. Enjoying it a lot, actually. Now, I was gonna play these games as they came out, like in release date. And I understand this game did not come out after the Chronicles remakes, but because this game's so ingrained with those two, I figured I would play it while it's fresh in my mind. Okay, so necklace equipped. Bring on. Time is actually tough to watch this 3 enemy. Yeah, I need to start. What I need to do is just stream earlier tonight. Is what I need to do. Which I'll probably start. I'll start doing that more often. This door open. The evil ring's power completely drained away. It's not gonna kill me. Good. It worked. Oh well. Bad. Not bad at all. The stream is going to be short though anyway, so it's not exactly early for me right now either. Wouldn't be able to do without your help, thank you. Come on, let's get inside. Here she is. Lady Fina. Utica. Are you liking it? Believe it or not, I still didn't finish this game fully. I am liking it. I'm liking it a lot. So I understand this game and 2 other ones share a similar engine. Like gameplay engine. So, and I know this game is like the culmination of gameplay mechanics in those 2 games, but playing this game actually makes me excited to play the other 2 as well and continue Adol's adventures. This is really nice though. I do like the dungeon, like it's just a straight action dungeon crawler gameplay. Not a whole lot of exploration, no towns to go talk to NPCs and stuff like that, but it's fine. It's a nice break. Force shield, and a powerful one at that. That's awful. What are they doing to her? Lady Fina, are you alright in there? You needn't worry about me. The barrier is only here to keep me contained and steal away my magic. It's not hurting me in any way. Thank goodness for small favors, I guess. I'm actually very glad to see you, Unica. I wanted to express my condolences about your father. I just wish I had the words to do so properly. Knowing how you must feel, I'm somewhat at a loss for what to say. Thank you for your concern, Lady Fina, but it's okay. I've come to terms with it. Look. It's House Tova's Crimson Lotus Blade. I actually had a chance to speak with Dad after you were taken. Utica described their ghostly encounter with Saul. You saw him. Face your weaknesses, huh? That's some pretty deep stuff. Yeah. I still don't know what he meant. Not entirely, anyway. For now, I guess I just have to keep doing the best I can in here. I hope I don't let him down. Unica. I finished Unica's story, that's about it. After you finish it, I'll not be able to watch it because spoilers. Ah, that's a shame. Yeah, I gotta go through as I'm doing Unica's first, and gotta do the Hugo run, and then whoever that mystery 3rd character is, bonus character. Boy, Cecilia, Ramona, Commander Galleon. Finally caught up to you. You're a little late though, don't you think? Yes, our apologies. We had a rather major demon attack to contend with along the way. Lady Fina, it is a pleasure to see you well. As ever, the Holy Knights are at your services. For Galleon, there's no need for such formalities, I assure you. I'm just grateful to see you all myself. and to confirm that you're all safe and sound. More grateful than I can possibly express. It's all thanks to Unica, really. She totally saved the day. Did she now? Absolutely. Not only did she take down the guardian of this strange little tower, but she has also figured out how to get past the curse in the door to this room. Thanks to, some Ace 2 shenanigans. It wasn't really that big a deal. You need to be modest, Unica. Thank you for everything you've done on my behalf. It's like you've more than made up for Lady Fina's capture now, huh? Where's a dick? It's kind of a dick. Why would you even bring that up? That's so mean. Jeez. He does care, though. You can't be serious. You mean to tell me there's absolutely no way to break through this barrier? It's enough, Cecilia. Calm down. I'm not saying it's impossible. It just won't be easy. It's about as powerful as they come. It will take a considerable amount of time just to study it and figure out how it works, much less undo it. Is there no way to speed up the process? Afraid not. Hugo's right. If we rush this, there's a strong possibility Lady Fina could be harmed by our attempts to free her. This Dahlia's person is definitely not one to be trifled with. Damn. Lady Fina, is something the matter? Oh, no, don't mind me. Lady Fina. Is there anything we can do for you while you're in there? What do you mean? Well, you came to this tower for a reason, and I'm guessing by what I've seen and heard that things are starting to get critical. I know you and Lady Rhea don't want to worry us, so you've been keeping a lot to yourselves. I understand if you still want to go into any detail, but even so. I'm sure there must be some way we can help you do whatever it is you came here to do, right? Unica. With all due respect, Lady Fina, I believe Unica speaks for every one of us. Eager though our abilities may be, we knights wish to assist you in any way possible. As do we. We'll follow any orders you give without question. Just tell us what we need to do. At some point I'll do a marathon of these game stories. Oh, that'd be sick. You redo Unica's, or you just gonna go straight to Hugo's in the secret character? Get sip my water. All of you. Maybe it's best that I tell you everything. It pains me to speak of this, but will you hear me out? Lady Fina. Of course, whatever you wish, milady. Where do I even begin? I guess I should start with the root cause of all of our problems. Good thing is the monsters stats, you collect all of them in one playthrough. You can continue collecting through other characters. Okay, I was kind of curious about that, because, the bosses, you kill them once, you get, you get the little blurb and, one of their stats or level or whatever it is, but none of the others. So it's good that it carries through it. Oh, sorry about that. Oh, my microphone. As you know, for the last several years, East has been perpetually invaded and ransacked by demons. What you may not know, however, is the reason behind these attacks. Believe it or not, the Black Pearl and the Clarion Metal are to blame. What? Nani? You can't be serious. The Black Pearl and Clarion have been the cornerstones of our prosperity. How could they be responsible for the demon attacks? Are you saying these Outlanders aren't at fault for this mess? Well, they're involved, certainly. Involved now, certainly. They've exercised full control over the demons, after all. Not responsible for the demons themselves, no. That dubious honor goes to the Black Pearl, which inadvertently spawned a malevolent energy. We've come to regard it as a demonic essence. Demonic essence? It's hard to put into words. Think of it as a malicious will. The very essence of demonism itself. Basically the dark side of magic. The dark side of the Force. And just as the Black Pearl spreads magical abilities far and wide, so too does it spread this malevolent energy. As it spreads, it distorts the earth, twisting and reshaping it until it takes on demonic form and comes to life. That's pretty serious. Is that why Grandpa and the other priests took away all the Cleria? It is. The Cleria itself was created by the Black Pearl after all. So its presence in the ground was amplifying these distortions, spreading them even farther. That's why demons seem to be spawning in greater numbers from within our Cleria mines. But with the help of the 6 priests, we had it all sealed away in chambers cut off from the Black Pearl's influence. Interesting. Brings you back to that door, the bottom of one of the mines in East 1. Never went into it. One Japanese and English version, which both of them I had to finish, so I have a long run to do. That is a long run. You go through it twice. Although Japanese and English don't have too much difference in dialogues. It's more Japanese is suitable 4-3, while English is 6. Oh, okay, I see. But I don't care, I'll have English in 4-3 yeah. Okay, I got the part about the demons. What about the Outlanders? What do they have to do with all this? Going through these games twice is gonna be quite the journey. So, I'd like to know the answer to that as well. The timing was a little too convenient to be mere coincidence. Unfortunately, I don't know the whole story myself. All I can say for certain is they do know of the demonic essence. The sorcerer, Dalles, hopes to gain complete control over the Black Pearl so he can give it shape and make it somehow perfect. And this tower is the ideal location for such a thing to occur. I'm not even sure what to say. This is all so crazy. What is it, Unica? Well, if Dalles is after the Black Pearl, then why did you bring it here? Are you just putting it directly in the line of fire? Unica, mind your position. You mustn't question the goddesses. I'm sorry. No, you're right to ask. Our intent, for better or worse, was to seal the demonic essence away within the Black Pearl. It's the only method that remains to rid ourselves of these demons once and for all. So after some deliberation, Ray and I made the decision to bring the pearl here. You see, that does make sense. And I guess if people had known about it, there probably would have been mass hysteria. Well, that answers the question of why you two disappeared without telling anyone. Make no mistake, however, Unica is absolutely correct. We took a tremendous risk in bringing the Black Pearl here. If it should be taken by the enemy, getting it back may be a near impossible task. So ultimately, my request to you is a simple one. Since I'm incapacitated here, I'd like for you all to safeguard Rhea and the pearl in my place. Without question. Just leave it to us. Well then, I guess our course is clear. Someone's going to need to stay in guard over Lady Fina, though, and try to get this barrier dispelled. We should discuss this with Father Shion and figure out how to best split our efforts. Talking about dollars to watch the game. I have not. I looked at it. I haven't actually watched it. Do you think would it be best to? Because I thought it'd better to watch it after I finished Origins, but he did say it was 2 Chronicles based on, so I guess it would have been made. Whatever. You think I should watch it? before I beat Origins? Sorcerers will stay here to work on getting rid of the barrier, while the knights forge ahead to find Lady Rhea. If the Black Pearl falls into the enemy's hands, the demonic essence will be unleashed, and all will be lost. We must find Lady Rhea as quickly as we can, and become her shield. Yes, sir. Deployment will commence shortly. There's only one thing that must be done before we move out. Knight's Apprentice, Utica Tova. Yes, sir. Stand before me and take to one knee. Oh, shit. Just do it, Utica. Take a knee. What's with the sour face, Cecilia? I just think this may be a bit too soon. Oh, that's no surprise. You've never been easy to please. If you were commander, I doubt any of us would make the cut. This bitch. I like slaughtered half this fucking tower and she's like, oh, you never be a knight. You never be a knight. Well, it's different story compares in 1 and 2, but it's interesting, I guess. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll definitely check it out. I might even go ahead and watch it like tomorrow or something like that. Just to say I did. Be interesting to see it in. A fashion. Anime take on 1 and 2. Lady Fina, I must ask that you allow the ceremony to be simplified. Given our current setting, it's the only way we can proceed. That will be fine, Sir Galleon. You may continue. Yunika Tova. From this day forth, you shall be a true holy knight of Solomon's Shrine. Goddess Fina bears witness to this conferment. Will you accept this title, and all responsibilities that accompany it? Yes, sir. It'd be my honor, sir. Congratulations, Unica. Guess we're the same rank now, partner. Mona, Roy. Now that you've attained knighthood, your duties will be far more numerous, and our expectations of you far higher. Don't worry, Cecilia. I won't let you down. I've been keeping an eye on your progress since before we arrived here. And truly, you performed above and beyond the call of duty. It's only right that you be recognized for your dedication. That's right. Your cleverness and bravery in allowing us to see Lady Fina here is a particular note. Thank you so much, Commander. Unica. Lady Fina, you did it. You fulfilled the promise you made to us. In fact, you surpassed all our expectations. I just wish Rhea could have been present for your knighting. Either way, congratulations, Sir Unica Tova. No one could be more deserving of the title than you. Lady Fina. Of course, part of me is going to be worried sick about you now, even more than I already have been. You are, after all, like a little sister to us. Please, try not to put yourself in any undue danger. Yes, please. And so the Holy Knights resumed their search for Lady Rhea. Utica, having attained the rank of knight, began her journey up the tower once more. Finally, true knight, I am at the times. What's this? Amber key. Oh, that's for the door. You see villagers hating Adol for saving them. Oh, gee. How can you hate Adol? Come on. And we get some unique monsters when it starts. These 2 games based in the anime. In the Korean game version. Oh, okay. Oh, okay, so the Korean game based on the anime version, guys. Unique monsters. That'd be interesting to see. How could anyone hate Adol, though? Okay, so it's just... Everyone's happy she got knighted. Cool. I'm gonna see what's in the store. Ah, that's right, I can use magic in here. Yeah. Or I can't use that in here. I'm gonna manually walk. If I fight Dallas, you'll still be suffering? Oh, good. He was already pretty fucking annoying in these 2, so. Maybe not the most annoying, but good bit. I think Zagger them to death though in that game, but this game remixing those bosses and making them harder is pretty cool. I will admit, Valkyries himself is definitely more of attrition compared to this one. That head, I don't remember what that head was called in these 2. Let me check the monsters. It's this thing, Jalali, this thing was fucking annoying in this game. Fought this shit for like a good half hour. To get it down perfect, because I was just dying, man. I think I was under leveled, but he was definitely intense. Meanwhile, in these 2, I think it's the same monster as the head that spits out that worm, or whatever you spin out. Okay, this is a big area. Oh shit, what the fuck? Is he different on Nightmare? Oh, jeez. I'm playing on hard right now. This game on hard. These two I just went through on normal. Let's go in first. These lasers. What? What is that? What? Okay. Alright. Alright then. Let's bring out the hammer. Okay, 2 hammer strikes destroys that. And that parry. Built-in parry. It's nice. Game for 1998 is very unique. I don't remember seeing anything like it. Yeah, I've never seen. I don't think I've ever played an RPG kind of anything like at least 1 or 2. Fuck are these things? They die easy enough. Ooh, that other one didn't just kill me. Oh, that hurts. Oh, they stack. No. Egg mashing. I'm with the stun. Got me. Fucking grab. And command grabs. Origins was released originally 90. Are you serious? So is this a remake? What I'm playing right here? Or is this how it was in 98? Because I thought this game came out on like the was it 2008, somewhere around there. Yeah, I was just when I first started this something that stuck out to me was this game reminded me a lot of that PS1 game, Brave Fencer Musashi. I don't know what it might be like, just the general gameplay. It kind of reminded me of that. The late 90s action RPG. Yeah, I thought this game was like, not new, but late 2000s. This is something there. So you fight all these all at once, but whatever. Version a bit modified comparison to the original. Original was released only in Japanese. Oh, okay, I see. Visual sort of the same. English version was took by Exceed years later and released in Steam. Okay, I see. That didn't stop. Okay, let's not go that way. Let's go this way instead. pot down there. Okay. Chest. Reflex armor. Nice. I should go get that upgraded. Missing an armor. And I felt like I was taking a little more damage than I should have been. My leveling up, but... This game shares visuals with their other series. The Kaseki series, Trails. First 5 Trails games had this aesthetic. I think Trails in the Sky 1 came out in 2001-ish in Japan, but it didn't come to English in like 2004 or 5. Oh, Jesus. Okay. Oh man. Wind helps against these guys. '90 games very impressive. This is very impressive. Thought this was made a little later. All that time now, the power make games like this. That's how PCs are way ahead. Yeah. Equipped. Oh, jeez. Okay. Chamber. Oh boy. Oh, I hate it. Oh god, okay. Oh god, okay. Alright. Let's go left first. Yeah, that's good. Okay. Oh god. Okay. Very slippery. Oh no. Okay. Let's get out of this now. Okay. Let's get out of this now. Okay, come on now. Let me go over there. There we go. Fuck that. Fuck that shit. 3 ore. Sword no Kaseki's. Yeah, it's Trails in the Skies. That'd be the first 3 games. It'd be Sword no Kaseki. And then the 2 crossbow games. I don't know what they're called. I know one's Owl no Kaseki. That's Azure. And Trails from Zero is the other one. All 5 of those games have this kind of aesthetic. The 2D character model on the 3D backdrop. Okay, let's... Okay. I'm gonna go upgrade my shit. Ooh. I think Trails, the first Trails came out in 2001-ish, somewhere around there, in Japan. Upgrades. Shit. 5. Oh well. So I can upgrade my weapon. Water. This weapon's a level 5. Cool. They also released the PC then. 2, 3, and 4. Yeah, they started on PC. I remember reading about that. They're on PC then ported to PSP, I think. So I got my weapon upgraded. Let's go back. Getting here soon. I want to see a little bit more of this area. Hopefully I can just fight the boss. Let's see if this game's forthcoming right in the stream. PSP was the remake of PC version. Okay, yeah, that tracks. Okay, so I went left. It led to that dandy crosswalk. Let's go straight. Ow. Oh, he's dead. Oh, I don't have my chimes equipped. Shit, okay. Area down. Okay, shit. Alright, let's go in here. Oh, and I can't get up there. Okay, cool. Pieces of version already remaking itself. Okay. Now, I know the version I played, I don't remember what the remake was called, but first, the version I played, had the classic art in it. Kind of like that 90s kind of anime aesthetic. I do know they remade it. They remade it again, and they had updated art and character portraits. Am I supposed to jump down here? Ooh. I think there was voice acting in that remake, but it wasn't in the version I played. Creeper Medallion. PSP version shows what most English people know, but that might be the version I played. If it has the classic art and no voice acting, that's the one I played. It was like minimal voice acting, like in combat and stuff, but nothing like cutscenes were voice acted. I think in one of the remakes the cutscenes were voice acted though, like. Is there another thing up here? He's cock blocking me. There we go. Okay, so I went through. I already went through. Okay. Go right. There is nothing over here. Okay. Oh, wait. Wait. Nope. Nothing worth a damn. Okay. So I gotta go back left and do that. The slides. 3 slides. We still got a Falcon game, have time to play yet. Oh, nice. Game got on Steam as well. Is it, I have a bunch of the Falcon games on Steam, I just haven't played them. Obviously, I have not all of them, but a bunch of the Trails series games. I started replaying those, or not replaying, but picked it back up. I'm on close to 4. The other thing I have is Vi? Is that what it's called? There's 2 of them. Oh man, I took that. Vi Ilvard Resurrection, or whatever it's called. Not a popular one. Oh shit, okay, I guess I'm going right. Oh, maybe not. Maybe I can go in. No, no, please. Please. It's okay. Let's go this way. So I have the 2 Spy games. Might stream them. Oh jeez. Okay. Big gorillas. Oh man, he just body slammed me. What the hell? Nice. I think there's another Falcon game I got too, and I don't remember what it's called though. Go through my Steam library. Oh boy, okay. And okay. Jeez. This slippery sand is kind of annoying. Let's take the easy way. The easy way just takes me back to... Okay. Is there some over there? How would it send me back? I guess it's to go back the way it came, maybe, but... Nope. Just faceplant, okay. Just curious if there's something across. Okay, so we have a lower door. That's why, okay, yeah. I have those games. I haven't played them though. Oh. Fine. Make it a little bit easier. Well, this makes it a lot easier, actually. Oh, this goes up. Yeah, this must be the way I have to go then. Let's go back down. Chest and monkeys, or whatever these things are. Oh, they get big too with the other ones. Oh, there's a mosquito on me. Okay. Red dragon claws. You got the first one. Okay. Where's the form? Those they got the English too, I just don't remember. Oh, okay. What's the... Oh. Here we go. Match the shoes to gain traction on slippery ground. Oh, okay. More slippery. What was the other? There was another Falcon game. I think it was Falcon. I can't remember what it's called though. Give me 1 second. It's gonna piss me off unless I look at it. Unless I look at it right now. It's gonna stick with me. It's Falcon. Not Legend of Yuta, although I want to get that. Works. I have Cold Steel 4. This is all Cold Steel stuff. Insane amount of DLC. Maybe it's not a Falcon game. No, it is. It's Garuman. Garuman: A Monstrous Adventure. It looks like it was a PSP game, but I'm not sure. It just has that PSP aesthetic. Sorry about that. Back to the game. Yeah, that's the other one I grabbed. It was on sale. Both the Game and Zwei was both on sale. I got Zwei because of the minigame. He's typing adventure. Oh, okay. He's typing adventure. I'm gonna type out Dark Fact really fast. Dark Fact and Dollies. Yeah. These damn mosquitoes. That drop attack is really nice. I like the stun. haven't had much to use, or much reason to use it until now. A little freedom on the winds. The VOD is starting to really show its use. Or just like just spam the hammer and try to kill it as fast as I can. Alright, it's a duel. Oh, you chunked me, I just took that. It was released in 2003 for Sony version on PC, and then they made port for this. Okay, so yeah, it sounds like that's their little pattern there. I should have never played that one. I never had that one. Yeah, I picked it up. I think it was last Steam, not this past Steam summer sales. Last year's Steam summer sale. I've been sitting on it for a while. I've been on all these games for a while. Okay, this smells like a boss. So, okay, I need to upgrade my armor. That's the key. I can kill this boss in a decent amount of time, and then pull it there. Alright. The Creeper's Chamber. Game's good too, most of the time nobody talks about it. Yeah, these games... Falcom is like one of the OGs when it comes to RPGs. And they release good games, but I don't know if it's because it never took off in the West so much or what, but like I look at the games that I bought and I'm like, man, they made a lot of games. These are all different IPs, these trails, so obviously those are probably gonna be the two big ones, but Zwei and Grumman? Yeah, I never heard of those. I literally just looked at them and was like, this could be fun, and then just bought them. It's not I like the little niche JRPGs. I was like, Dinosaurs actually didn't take it 2 weeks on Steam so far, it's only in Japanese. Is that another Falcom title? I think XC for making these games playable in English. Otherwise I wouldn't be able to play them. I could play them, but I just wouldn't understand what's going on. That is a game breaker. Creeper's Chamber. Sure, yeah, I got the Dragon Claw. Okay. Dinosaur is not related to anything related to real dinosaurs. Oh, it's just the name. Fuck is that? Onsplard? Oh, okay. To kill these. This is a little bullet hole here. Oh, a big bullet hole here. Okay, alright. Oh, is he fading there? No, stop that. Oh my goodness. Big sword, the big fire sword's doing good here. They can destroy the projectiles. That would do. Oh, I attack his eye. Okay. I'm probably gonna die here. I think I can destroy those. And I'm dead. It's gonna be one of those bosses, huh? God. switch to hammer. Oh, okay, I gotta remember he does that. What does that do? It does heal him, okay. He heals him a little bit, but okay. Take care of these. I should be using my hammer more. Ah! I'm just scared of the projectiles. Probably gonna die here, but it's very hectic. There it is. Damn. Well, I got about a decent amount of HP down. But you remember the name of the game is like that because the game is called Dinosaur King or something. I didn't play the game too much to know. Oh, not Dinosaur's game. The boss is annoying and very easy. He's annoying and fucking hard. The game, a very easy to experience the story already. I think the story is not very easy. There's no option for no fail. Of course there is. Of course there is. Take it easy. That's definitely an issue. I'm just gonna reset. Just you're done. Maybe I lied. Am I still slow? I feel like I'm charging really slow. Doesn't help I can't stop them from healing other than just destroying the eyeballs. Wonder if the wind blocks this. If it does, then I may have my key in this boss. Ah, okay. So, fuck the swords. I might have to use the wind here. Didn't choose the option. I've died a couple times, you know, really easy. Oh, that's good enough. I've died a lot on hard. That skeleton boss with the fire area, the lava area, I was on him for a good half hour. He was very, very annoying. I had to get his fight down almost perfect. Incredible use of the hammer though, that's parry, like damage block, whatever you want to call it. Well, they'll still stay there, okay. This boss could be similar. I might have to put this one down. Which, if it takes too long, I'm just gonna call it because I'm getting tired. So let me rest it for next time. Alright. Fuck that really hard. There it is. make more use of my other spells as well. Do you notice any trees too? Don't upgrade your weapon, you're really going for a hard time. You're level upgrade weapon. Yeah, I might be under level for this. I've gotten every upgrade, I think. It seemed like it was one upgrade per area. My weapons are rank 5. I'm not worried about him getting healed here, because he's already at max HP. Jeez. But I could be underleveled. That's what... That became very apparent when I got to this area. When I started the Silent Sands, like, I was getting bodied by everything. So I actually wouldn't... I grinded for half an hour off stream. A few days ago. Nice. Okay. Chances are I'm just underleveled. This is taking me a while to kill the little eyeballs. I am hurting him a lot, though, in his normal phase. I still feel most comfortable using this spell over the other two. Well, the wind is nice. Chunky and plenty. These should have been too long. These waves draw it out quite a bit more. There's little balls here too. And the waves. They come back? Okay. Oh, fuck. Yeah. No, there's 4 of them. Nice thing about grinding for that half hour though is that I had a shit ton of SP. And, you know, I could actually kill the enemies in this area. Those little bugs, little tiny bugs, they were fucking me up with something fierce. It's like they'd run into me and I'd be like half dead. It's not like they bounce back either. No, these guys are like little tiny mini 3-inch adults running around. Running into me and triple evasive. Okay. I think I might be at their level. Maybe by a little bit. Rouge upgrades also help. Yeah, I found roughly a roux per area. Like the GOG version for English, so Steam runs glitch. Oh, really? You get 4 FPS while in the save menu for no reason. Oh, that sucks, man. The save menu specific. I don't know why. Okay, so I'm not gonna have too much time to change shit. I just want an idea of how fast I'm leveling it. It seemed like when I hit level 29, when I was grinding earlier. That's when the XP was like significantly lower. These things. Okay, so 4,000 XP. Let's see. Where do I get this shit? Okay, so yeah, I should probably go a few times in here. I'm not gonna spend too long because I do need to in here. And then what I'll probably do is what I did last time, I'll just grind off. Let's get a little bit. This guy's got decent XP. SP. Maybe I should upgrade my map. You know why? You know what I keep fucking doing? I've used my boost like twice. I keep forgetting it exists. Oh jeez. No solution for the issue. Start the whole data from the beginning. Try to do that, but no results. You know, I tried to do. Yeah, you said you had the original version. The same PC to share pretty much the same folder. Try to load the Japanese file links and vice versa. Japanese wasn't even recognizing the save file. And yours doesn't. Yeah, weird. I guess maybe they did. Based on the Japanese version, if there's any changes to the code, maybe the original's not going to read new code, or the new version, English modified version, if you will. Since it's all still there from the Japanese version, and that's why the English version will read it. Let's clear this room one more time. This shit, the Super Saiyan shit, I never use this. I don't know why. I think I got the upgrade for it. Get up here. Actively killing these things a lot faster now, even with just that one level. So, next being 7,000. Hey, that. Okay, XP starting to... XP gain's starting to dwindle a little bit. It's fine. At least one more bullshit. Something in a good spot, I think this was. This thing's fucking... Oh my god. Like spotting an actual body. You have a Steam Cloud sync to save, and Steam is already there. Now every time you use Steam Cloud, it syncs to save file with these. Oh, that sucks. That Steam Cloud fucks up sometimes. I had a friend who he's going to one of the Yakuza games, and every time he gets near the end, Steam Cloud like erases all his shit. It sucks, man. Alright. 13,000. Skill recovery sounds useful, but let's have let's see if I can actually kill this branch tree. Mosquitoes in these two? Mosquitoes. No, no, I did not. I think I know what you're talking about, though. You mentioned something about mosquitoes before when I was playing East 1. This was like bring them somewhere. I didn't try. I did try. I did get the achievement for clearing out the basement, though. The one dude's basement. I just kind of left things down there, and then I was like, this guy still has monsters in his basement. And I went down and to kill. And eventually they stopped respawning. And I got the achievement. Nice. Looks like I'm doing more damage to shit. Oh yeah, definitely. Does damage too, which is also nice. I'll see how much damage I can do with this eyeball. Oh yeah, that's a lot more damage. Nice. Oh, I can guard those. Nice. Okay. This is not as annoying as I thought it was. I may need another level here. Oh no, another eyeball kill. Definitely doing better than I was before. You just stood there and let me do it. Okay, let's see if this fuck has any other mechanics. be able to kill him. Be careful. I'm starting to hit multiple eyes with my Phoenix. Oh, one more should do it. He's got 6 of this thing too. This is gonna get very active. Okay. Stay down. I think it stuns every once in a while. And that's about it. He is healing a lot though. Jesus. He healed for a lot. I should have been focusing the other side. Glad that was healing. Flex. I think we can get him. I might die, but I'll give it one more shot. If I stands, shoot across and hit on as many as I can. Sucks. Damn. Okay. No, I can get him. I can get him. If he dies and lock the final door, if we go back to the first one, you're gonna see the mosquitoes. The secret room. Yeah, the health regen's fucking up. I need to focus on eyes that are actually doing that. Remember if I went back to the village when I beat Dolly's. I was kind of just hyped for the end, so I was like just powering through it. That hurt a lot. Sizable amount of damage. That hurt. Really hurt. I'm gonna die from that shit. That shit right there. Oh shit. Okay, I can kind of jump when I'm casting that. It doesn't lock me in place. It's definitely means I can be more liberal with the use during these waves. Okay, that really stayed. Okay, I might be dead. Yep. Flies. What are you special? Yeah, I was saying that earlier. I always forget about the special mode, the limit, whatever it's called. I swear I've used it like maybe 3 times the entire time I'm playing. I always forget about it. I don't know why. I even got the upgrade for it. There's still an upgrade for it. For a reason, I just don't use it anymore. It just slips my mind every time. Oh, I got 2 eyes, nice. Of course, you would send it one more time, wouldn't you? I'm gonna finally use it. Should probably save it for his actual eye. But I do like the idea of not letting him get healed too much. Yeah, I am chunking his eyes with that thing. Just completely missed that one. Oh, there's a lot of balls over here. Not good. We're doing okay. We're doing okay. Don't get caught. Oh no. The back one died, but the front... Okay. What the fuck? Shit. Man. An extra level would probably make a little bit of difference. At the same time, I feel like I have him. It's that pulse earthquake he does around and it fucks me up. I feel like the fire source is the way to go. That shit right there. That's what fucks me up every time. Getting too close and then it hits me. I think I'm dead. I'm just gonna let him kill me. Kill me. Kill me, yes. Damn. A little more time, yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I can just kill those eyeballs just a little bit faster. You can save a cycle of running up to his eye. Yeah, now it's my mission. Not these mosquitoes. XP. Okay. The XP drops it's slow down, but enough to not make it worth it. Oops. These mosquitoes. I hate them so much. $2,000. Two, 2.7, okay. Another 1.5. Using the search and time. This time is a little closer to where I'm supposed to be in the level. Before. Last time I was grinding, it took me half an hour to get to a good spot. Almost there. Get some SP while I'm at it too. Hope I can get the skill recovery. Great. You'll cast more often. Definitely gonna be helpful. Jeez. $300. Okay, so this little over here should do it. There it is. I think it's 20,000 SP. So I got plenty, so that's... There it is, skill recovery. That should be helpful. Very helpful. Okay, one more good old try. Yeah, XP through the menus. Yeah, I see the red bar, but the numbers help me visualize a little bit easier. This last one very tough, so you better level up earlier. Okay, good. Yeah, I'll definitely. I've gotten to the point in the game where it is important to grind some. Well, spend some time in each floor, making sure to clear. I think if I clear as I go through it, because I do run past shit, especially if I've already killed it, it should keep me in line more so than before. Let's see how this goes. Sure, yeah. One more try. Let's see how this goes. Just in case, I'm going to save it after the store is open, so I don't gotta watch that every time. I was hitting him for roughly 45. The damage tick. Now it's up to 54, which is a lot better. Nice. Okay, even just the axe. Without the hammer, I'm still doing a lot of damage. I have reason to use the greatsword. Just completely whipped that. Feels a little dependent on the hammer. Mostly the eyes. I don't think I'm missing damage on the actual boss. It's getting these eyes down for a good amount of time. Of course, that one would be the one that heals. Yeah, they're not having any time to heal him now, which is good. Okay, yeah, and I instantly transition. Good. Nice, okay, I think I've got it. And watch out for that pulse though, I don't want to get too close to him. That one died, this one didn't, okay. Oh, I did get him, okay. I was like, there's a sliver left, he's just gonna go through it. Stick. Hey, I did it. I will not miss this place. For the second run through. with Hugo. Roy, what's going on? Just passing through. Guess when you're scaling a tower, you're bound to cross paths from time to time. Have you learned anything new regarding the whereabouts of Lady Rhea? Nothing yet. How about you? Not a single clue. We haven't even met with much resistance, to be honest. The enemy hasn't shown itself at all since we left Rado's annex. I don't like it. They're preoccupied elsewhere. It can only mean trouble for us down the road. I really wish you wouldn't say things like that. Well, when I was about to fight that sorceress, she got called away to the top of the tower to help set up something. What do you mean, something? I don't know. He wasn't very specific. He just ordered her to withdraw. Well, there's no sense debating what might be occurring above our heads. It's better to keep moving and see with our own eyes. One thing we can be certain of is that Lady Rhea's higher still within these walls. As long as that remains true, we must continue to climb this accursed tower without delay. Understood. Alright, move out. Yes, sir. Roy, is something wrong? No, quite the opposite. You seem much more composed lately. So much more confident. I guess you could say you're getting more knightly by the second. Really? Of course, you'll always be the same old Unica to me. And compared to Cecilia Ramona, you're still just a little pipsqueak. Here I was thinking you were actually complimenting me for a change. Oh, you know, I gotta keep up appearances. Come on, let's get going. If we dally too much and the other knights are gonna find Lady Rhea before we do. Whose fault is that? Jeez. It's nice. Blighted Blood. Good. Cool song though. Funny enough, watching Japanese movies as people playing recent TVs. Really? I was like picking up stuff like that. Playing some old retro game on your television. How big Ace is in Japan? I think it's shit for us. We need to be shit for us even the boss is here. I'll find out what the Blighted Blood is another time. The hour grows late. I didn't mean to stream this long. That boss is pissing me off, so time well spent killing him. I think that was floor. I'm just gonna cheat like floor 18. Say 18th floor. Floor 18. The Blighted Blood. I'm getting there towards the end. Almost there. I'm gonna do it all over again as Hugo, and then the third time as the secret character. Another time. So Wednesday nights, I'm not gonna stream East, but I'm gonna stream Limit because I've been having a lot of fun with that. And then Thursday, we'll stream more Its Origins. Reach top. Then finish, go back tip once again. Yeah, go back all the way to the top. I'm gonna scale this damn tower 3 times in this game. That's fine though. I enjoy it. It's actually achievements anyway. Yes, Maurice on Thursday. AI Limit on Wednesday. Enjoying AI Limit. I'd like to see the end of it. We'll be calling it there. So, Thanks for tuning in. Jack Newton and a few others. Familiar Doom Guide. Familiar, thank you for watching. Thanks for tuning in. And the YouTube channel goes up tomorrow, which will have my same VODs. Because Twitch only holds them for a week. For whatever reason. Thanks for streaming. You're very welcome. And thank you for watching. So. Oh man. I'm just gonna talk with you. It's good to talk with you too. You know a lot about East and some of the retro shit, so that's really cool. I always like the retro stuff. And going through these old games is always really fun too. Use the time. Put it there. As usual. Wherever you may be. Have a good day, a good evening, a good night. As always, take care, Wanderers.